everybody. Guess where we're at? You see behind me? We're in Detroit. No, just kidding you, but welcome to Father, Son, and Holy Sport. We're starting off the new year with the live draft special. T-Money over there from Cincinnati. G-Man right here in Columbus, Ohio. Hey, Marvy Harrison, we're looking for you, brother. And J.J. McCarthy for my Michigan fan there. I know, T-Money. You ready for the NFL Draft 2024?
Oh yeah, it looks crazy there. We're both pretty close to Detroit, and I just saw that they 2 hours before the draft even kicked off, they already had shoulder to shoulder, multiple blocks, 150,000 people standing watching this thing in the streets. So it's packed. It's an awesome event. They've turned this thing into a spectacle, but it's great. It's going to be fun. It's hopefully a lot of trades. There's a lot of buzz going on right now, so we'll see.
And we're going to talk about the draft. We're going to go through the top 10 picks live here with you. We're going to publish this thing tomorrow, thanks to Team Money. And we are going to give you information, baby. We're going to give you some bets. I know you won't get it till tomorrow, but you're going to see. Last year, G-Man picked the first cornerback in the draft. Won some cash for everybody. G-Man with the cornerback pick. But I got a couple picks for you tonight, Team Money. And so we can get into that. I was looking first, Team Money, back at last year's draft. Any reflection before we talk about this year's draft? Looking back at last year, we got Bryce Young going number 1. How about that? And CJ Stroud 2. It turned out CJ was the one. And
Yeah.
Bryce may not even be a top 10. So interesting quarterbacks there last year, going 1, 2, and 4. Remember, Anthony Richardson went 4
Yeah.
and got injured.
Yeah. He,
So
he
we'll
looks like a
see.
beast. He looks like a beast.
So 3 of the top 4 quarterbacks last year. That was and maybe something like that'll happen this year. We got supposedly 3 straight quarterbacks right at the top. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Looks like it's going to be 3 straight. And then from there, you got JJ, Penix, and Bo Nix, who are supposed to come off the board. I've even heard some rumblings of Spencer Rattler at the end of the first round if someone wants to grab him. The guy was Spencer Rattler was the #1 recruit in the country back when he was coming out. Went to Oklahoma and had to transfer out because he got beat out by Caleb Williams, surprisingly. But that guy is very, very talented. But a lot of quarterbacks going to go. I'd love to see Penix end up on a good team. That would be so fun. I think Seattle's a perfect spot for him. I know he's just at Washington, but his OC is now the OC at the Seahawks. They moved up, so he just fit in there. He can sit a year behind Geno, get healthy, get stronger, and I like him there. Bo Nix has been rumored to go to the Broncos. I think that's probably where he ends up, but JJ could go anywhere. That's the one I have no clue, G-Man.
Yeah, I like that left-hand throw from Penix, man. It's so smooth.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Going to Adunze. Adunze is in the limelight too. One of the top 3 wide receivers. Those 3 wide receivers, Harrison and Adunze and Nabers from LSU. Those 3 are supposed to go maybe in the top 10, 12.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, I expect 3 receivers in the top 10. I really do. I think Nabers will, I personally love Nabers. I think he just has an athletic profile that Marvin Harrison Jr. does not have. So I think his upside is higher.
That's not your Michigan feelings coming out.
No. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the most pro-ready prospect out of every single person in this draft. So I'm going to give him props. I think the guy's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler, might be a Hall of Famer. He just looks that skilled. But man, Malik Nabers just has a different gear that just the game breaker type Tyreek, factor to him. So like Debo Samuel-ish, that can take you up another notch. So I love Marvin Harrison Jr. But Nabers is my guy if he reaches his full potential. So that's the battle you got to do in these drafts. Are you a full potential guy or are you a floor ceiling guy? Those are the biggest things you got to think about, and all these GMs are thinking about.
Yeah, I like Harrison. I like Nabers too, man. I like him. He reminds me of Chase.
Yeah,
but I love Harrison. He's so big, man. 6'3" and fast.
Yeah,
and he's got that bloodline with his dad in the Hall of Fame
for sure.
He's just cool. But hey, man, last year defense really won out. Remember the defense? How many defenders we had in the top 10? There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders out of 10. Team Money. That's not going to happen this year.
No, it's a pretty weak defensive draft. Some saying the first one's most likely Atlanta. Dallas Turner is probably the first guy going off the board. And if they don't select him there, or they could even move down if there's a trade, if someone wants a Dunze or something. You could see the first defensive lineman go or defensive person going off in like the, 12, 13 potentially. So a kind of a weaker draft here
Yeah.
for defense. But the other big one everyone's talking about is offensive linemen. That's where
Yeah.
this draft is also strong. You're going to see potentially 6, 7, 8 offensive linemen get drafted in this in this draft. And I got an article here from Paul Hembo, who works at ESPN, and it goes over the hit rates of first round draft picks over the last 20 drafts. Okay. And basically, hit rate means did you get a second contract with that team? Center is number one at 92. Offensive tackle is next at 59%, and guard at 50%. So drafting an offensive lineman in the first round is the best you can do for your team. If you want, it's a lower risk, and centers almost always get a second contract, 92% hit rate. Then you get into some of the scarier ones, linebacker, QB.
I like the analytics you're bringing out here tonight.
Now, I do want to point out my Bengals right now, I'm a little nervous for. We're projected to take a corner. Quarterback hit rates are 38%. So, not looking good on that hit rate there, but I'd love them to take a tackle if they can. That would be my suggestion. But hey, we'll see what the Bengals do.
Yeah, if you look at going back to the quarterbacks, you got Bryce Young was 1 last year, Stroud 2, Richardson 3. Let's say Bryce Young was a flop. Who's most likely to be the flop in those quarterbacks that we've talked about? Which one do you have the least confidence in?
Oh, that is a tough one. I'm gonna say Jaden Daniels.
You know what? It could be the team they end up on too. I don't know if Bryce Young deserves a little credit for that. I don't know.
I agree. It's where you get drafted. And I think whoever gets drafted to Minnesota, good on you. That guy might be. That's a made team. That is so. Oh my gosh, gee, that's if I'm anyone, please trade up for me or let me fall in the draft. Please, I will. I will go to the Minnesota Vikings. Great offensive line, great weapons, great offensive coach. Look what it's done for like Jordan Love, right? That guy's kind of grown into that role. And they got Sam Darnold there to show you how to be a pro. So I really like that situation. I'm gonna go with Jaden Daniels though. Cliff Kingsbury has a really weird, resume in this league. Like he's done okay, then he's done horribly. I'm not sure if Jaden Daniels fits his scheme.
Yeah.
And on top of that, do you like Washington as a program? I know they cleaned house and the owner sold. They got in Dan Quinn, but who's also a defensive coach. And Jaden Daniels just has such a swing to him. He's so slender, and he doesn't have the biggest arm. And, I can just see things going the wrong way. RG3, like not protecting him, not having smart play calls. Cliff Kingsbury's fired. Now you're on this offensive coordinator carousel because you have a defensive head coach. So that'd be the one I had the biggest concerns about right now. And Jaden Daniels is probably my biggest boom or bust, but he has crazy potential. He's like a better thrower than Lamar with his skills. So that's
production room. Can we capture that comment and come back to it in 3 years? I want to see if T Money was right.
Yeah. Well, who's your quarterback?
Well, are those top 3 we talking or the top 5?
I'll give you top 5, but yeah.
Out of those top 3, I think that, Drake May is the one most likely to fail. I think Drake May reminds me of Daniel Jones. I think that's what he's going to be. He's going to be Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is okay, but he's not a franchise guy. But I'll bet the Giants stay with Daniel Jones tonight. I'll bet you the Giants do not go for a quarterback at that 6th spot. I'm predicting no. They're going to give Daniel Jones one more year. They can get out of that contract next year. They're going to stay with Daniel Jones, and Drake May is going to be like Daniel Jones. He's got a lot of great skills. He's athletic. He can run like Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a good runner, but I don't think he has the completion percentage, touchdown interception ratio that you need. I know he's young. He's the youngest
Yeah.
one, 21, but 21's not that young. I mean, T Money's 30. I mean, come on, man.
Whoa. I don't need to air my dirty laundry here. Hey, I see what you're saying about Drake May. You got to remember that he lost a ton of personnel and weapons this year. His sophomore tape is actually his best tape, and it's better than a lot of these guys. He was, already looking great. So
he has a great year, and then he comes and does good, then he does bad, and he does good. And you're like, man, this guy's pretty good.
I just feel like it's a huge insult to call anyone Daniel Jones. That's how I feel. Like, Daniel Jones is a horrible quarterback. You know what I mean?
He's horrible. No. Yeah. I think he's above average.
I don't. You think he's in the top 15 quarterbacks in the league? That's above average. I just want you to clarify. Okay. So he's below average. So he's below average.
All right.
He's in the bottom 10 quarterbacks in the league.
All right. So let's look at our top 5. We'll see how right we are here coming up here. Our top 5 picks. Okay. I think we're both agreeing Caleb Williams goes 1 to the Bears.
Yeah.
We can talk more about it when it happens, but do you have Caleb Williams to the Bears 1? I think
it's of course. That's going to happen. Just write it in.
And then who do you like Washington? Do you like Washington trading, or do you think they're going to take somebody?
They're going to take Jaden Daniels. I think 1 and 2 are pretty solidified.
I agree with that. I think Jaden Daniels too. I'm a little more high on Jaden Daniels than you, but I'm worried about that system, just like you said.
I love him. I love him.
We can talk more about him when it happens.
Yeah.
Right, so let's go to 3, and we got the Patriots there sitting there at 3. And Patriots, do they trade, or do you think they grab a quarterback and Drake May?
I think personally they should trade, but I think they'll feel the pressure of the fan base wanting hope, and they need to move past this Belichick Brady thing. So I think they're going to draft a quarterback, even though I think they should trade out of it, build their team up a little bit. Because if you're telling me Drake May is going there, I'll tell you right now he's going to fail, Gary. Like, that's how that team is horrible. Like, hey, who's your best receiver? Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, awesome. That guy looked like he was going to be out of the league after watching him last year. Their offensive line's horrible. You lost Bill Belichick as a defensive guy. I just think that's the worst situation right now to be in. So,
T-Money gets fired up at night. You're much more fired up at night. You got to keep broadcasting at night. All right, so number 4. That's why I got the hat on number 4, because I see Marvy Harrison going to my Cardinals. I have to start rooting for him if Marvy ends up at the Cardinals. That's my pick for 4. What do you think? What do the Cardinals do?
Sure.
Yes, they could trade, but I don't think they're trading.
Yeah, I think they're going to take Marvin Harrison. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We agree on the top 4. But will we agree on the top 5? Are the Chargers are sitting there at 5? You know they're going to get offers. They have Justin Herbert, your man Justin. So what do they do, T-Money?
I think they're going to trade out of 4.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're going to trade out. Yeah.
Okay. I think they could trade out too. I think that could be a trade spot. It's going to be interesting to see. If they don't trade out, I think they go Joe Alt, the top offensive line.
That's what I would think too. Yeah. I think that's the right move.
Harbaugh is going to want to run the ball. And,
Yep.
So he'll want a good and protect Herbert. So he's going to want that line. Harbaugh wants that line, that grind it out kind of thing. I think he'll go offensive lineman if he doesn't trade.
Yeah. I also heard a spicy rumor that the Chargers, I don't know if this is true or not, but maybe it's just fanfare. They were going to trade Herbert and draft a QB and draft JJ McCarthy so that Harbaugh could start over with JJ and they'd get multiple picks for Herbert. That's what I've heard.
I'd love to see some spice tonight.
Imagine if you keep 5 and you draft JJ, and then you give Minnesota Justin Herbert, and you say, "Hey, give me 5 first round picks. I get 2 this year and the next 3." I mean, then you have 3 first round picks this year. Like, That's how you restart a franchise if you hit on the quarterback, if you get JJ. So I don't think that's going to happen because you need a quarterback to win in this league, and Herbert's a good freaking quarterback.
Yeah.
He just needs a good coach and team around him. But that would be awesome to see. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now, those top three teams all need quarterbacks, but outside of those guys, I think the one most likely to move up that really needs a quarterback is the Vikings. What do you think? Are they the one you think are most desperate to get that quarterback, and will they jump up to get it?
Well, it's very interesting because they do seem desperate, even though their team is solid, and Sam Darnold's probably just as good as Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy, and so, it's very interesting.
So you wouldn't pay a lot to move up if you have that.
Yeah,
you'd pay to move up if you can get one of the top three. You'd pay to move
up. Yeah. And so it's a difficult one because I do think the Broncos need a quarterback more than anyone, and the Raiders. Both those teams need a quarterback very badly. Like going into the season with Jared Stidham and Gardner Minshew as your starters, you're already, you're dead on arrival. So that's what's going to be interesting to see, those guys jockeying for position with Minnesota. So, yeah.
Okay, well, moving to some best bets here. I got two best bets. I think after these top three quarterbacks, they're going to shift and take some other players, So I'm betting JJ McCarthy at 6+. I think he's either 6 or more, and I grabbed a bet on that. I think JJ is going to slide a little bit into maybe 7. I got him right now at the 7 or 8 spot. So if he hits that, I win my bet because it's 6 or more. I win on that when JJ has to get in the top 5 for me to lose. And my other bet is Odunze. I like Odunze 9 or later. I think Odunze's great. He could go 4. There's some people that like him better than Marvin. But I don't think so. I think Marvin and Nabers get gobbled up, and Odunze falls to like 11. So I like him at 9 or later. Those are my 2 top picks.
All right. I like it, G. I think JJ is going to be gone. I think he's going to go 4, 5, or 6. So, I would be worried about that.
Say that we just picked our top 5 and you didn't pick him.
Or
you say that?
I think Minnesota's going to move up. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think the Chargers are going to make that trade and somebody's going to grab JJ at the 5 spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's interesting bets that I found for Caleb Williams, and these are really funny. Caleb Williams bets. Plus 450, Caleb Williams to wear pink nail polish while getting drafted. So, he likes to wear nail polish. He wears different colors of nail polish. So if he wears pink and you bet $100, you win $450.
That's hilarious.
You think he's going to wear pink?
No, I think he'll go white. I think he's going to go white.
Okay. Minus 135, he shouts out a sponsor during the post-draft interview. That he shouts out a sponsor. So he's a good chance, minus 135, that he's going to do it.
Interesting. I'll take a no. I think I'll take a no there. I'll take a no.
All right. And then plus 10,000. You bet $1, you win 10,000 on this one. Caleb Williams refuses to play for the Bears and demands to be traded on draft night.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Remember Eli Manning did that? He refused to play. Yeah. Who was he drafted by? Was Chargers?
He was drafted by the Colts, I think. Or something like the Chargers. He was drafted by the Chargers. That's correct.
Yeah, and he said he didn't want to play for him.
Yeah.
That was on it. Yeah, so you can win if Caleb Williams does that.
Yeah, if the Colts drafted John Elway and he requested it out. That's what happened with the Colts. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's it. I see they're walking out to the stage.
We're ready. Eminem's here, man. Eminem's here. That's pretty awesome. You see Eminem out on stage right now?
Oh, nice. Yeah, I do. Yeah, okay.
That's
Eminem was kicking it off here.
Oh yeah, he had a funny commercial with Goodell earlier, this week promoting it. So you'll have to check that out if you can at some point.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Father, Son, and Holy Sport new season, the NFL Draft.
Let's go. Yeah. Hey,
The
you
only
know,
show you see me drinking on, ladies and gentlemen.
and I do love this show as well because it does kick off the fantasy league. It kind of locks everything in. You know, we can discuss some of the fantasy implications here and there, you know, throughout this if we
Oh
want. But
yeah,
mainly, you know, I
absolutely.
love that the running backs and the wide receivers and the quarterbacks all will be locked in, and tight ends. Don't forget about Brock Powers. That dude's legit. But this really does help determine what teams are going to look like moving forward. So for fantasy football as well. So it's very exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that part. We'll have to bring that out. I see they're bringing the Lions players out now to kind of
Yep.
stroll around Detroit Stadium here. The
Yeah.
Lions getting psyched up, trying to make another run this year, Team Money.
Oh,
They
and
got
here,
some good fantasy players there, too.
yep. Amon-Ra just signed a record-breaking deal. He got the
Yeah.
most for wide receiver money ever. So congrats to him. The Lions are going to be dangerous this year, man. They're going to be dangerous.
You know,
Few
the
fourth
next
down
guy up,
conversions, they might have been in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
the next man up for the receivers is Ayuk. Ayuk's going to get his payday.
Yeah, he's probably
Everybody
getting
wants Ayuk.
traded, is what's going to happen now.
Yeah, but traded and pay. I mean, he's going to get the big deal.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
saying they might be bigger than Amon.
That's
Could that be
crazy.
possible?
I
That would
don't
be
think he
crazy.
deserves it. I don't
Oh,
think he's
stop it.
better.
Just stop it.
Gary, I'm just telling you right now, I would rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown than Brandon Ayuk. I'm not
We will
saying
see. We'll see
Brandon
where he
Ayuk
ends up.
isn't okay. I'm not saying he's a bad receiver, but can I say Amon-Ra St. Brown's a top 5 guy, top 8 guy, and
Yeah, he's
Brandon
good.
Ayuk kind of feels like a top 12 guy? That's it. I like Ayuk a lot.
I
I
like
know he's your
I
baby.
like Ayuk.
I know
I
he's your
like him a little bit
baby.
better. I like him a little better. Hey, here's another interesting thing while we're waiting here for Detroit to get off the stage so that we can get this pick
Right.
going.
Let's get this going.
Interesting. Last year, Team Money, we had 2 running backs in the top 10, and you remember them well. And I'm wondering what you're thinking about that. You know, there's no running backs projected in the top 10 this year. Last year, Bijan went at 8, and Jameer Gibbs went at 12. So 2 in the
Yeah.
top 12. Jameer looked good for Detroit. I thought he played well, and Bijan had strokes of greatness, but they really didn't utilize him.
Yeah, that was just underutilization. Jameer Gibbs looks like lightning in a bottle. That guy's a beast. I loved him coming out of college, and so I was stick to that. I loved Jameer Gibbs. But yeah, these running backs would be really interesting. You know, from what I'm hearing, late second round is probably the first running back, maybe third round. So there will be fantasy implications, but it feels like a lot of depth moves, you know, like, hey, is this guy going to steal carries from, Zamir White on the Raiders, or is he going to steal carries from Rico Dowdle with the Cowboys? You know, like this is more a depth play and potential than it is like, Jameer Gibbs, Bijan Robinson are first round picks, in our league already. That's what's interesting.
Yeah. Last year in the fantasy drafts, Jameer and Bijan going 1 and 2. And this year, it's not going to happen. The running backs are not going to take over the fantasy drafts for the rookies anyway, like they did last year. And we're on the clock here with the Bears. The Bears with the first pick, Team Money. They're on the clock. We both projected Caleb Williams along with the rest of the world. 99.99% chance it's Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I'm going to do a little side rant here while we got this clock going. Why the hell do they need? Why the hell do they need 10 minutes? This is not how this draft should start. The draft should start and automatically they put their pick in. It's due at 8 p.m. You got to put your pick in. You've had 3 months, 4 months. Why do they need 10 minutes? They don't need it. No.
Well, if someone makes a play, they want to
make a trade before. Until 8 p.m., you can make a trade. You have all day to make a trade if you need to make a trade. Why do you do? No, I do not like this. They have done all the research. What are they sitting there like, oh, do we draft Caleb right now? Like, what are they doing for 10 minutes? Like, look at Caleb's just sitting there. Also, he does have pink. He has pink nail polish. Just calling that out. They're showing him on TV.
Oh, my God. So that was a winner.
Yeah.
That was a winner. Oh, my God.
So,
that was plus 450. Plus 450 on that one. You bet 100, you get 450.
So, I cannot stand Yeah. I just can't
He's
stand
holding
that they
his
get
phone. I
10
think he got a
minutes.
call.
I'm sure he did. Yeah.
The 2020, the 2022
That's
Heisman
that's my
Trophy
rant.
winner,
I just
Caleb
think that
Williams.
I hate that. So that's my little rant.
Yeah, we got your rant. We got your rant. Okay, but Caleb Williams sitting here really looking calm and just a great. He is the guy. He's definitely the best quarterback, and he is the one that is going to stand out 5 years from now, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, and people are saying he's the best since Andrew Luck, and he looked it in college, and he was under duress. People, get nervous about some of these quarterbacks coming from Alabama, coming from Ohio State, because you're always protected and you have the best weapons, and they didn't do much of protecting him there, and he was always in a shootout, always running for his life, always had to do miraculous things. So, I like that he was under duress there. That kind of showed that he can carry a bad NFL franchise. So, and he just has all the tools, like a baseball player. He's the 5-tool player, man. The guy can do everything. Sidearm, he can do it short. He's got the accuracy. He's got the deep ball. He's got the legs. He knows how to make spectacular throws that only a few people can. So, yeah, it's exciting. He's a beast, man.
People, oh, he's taking a call. He's on the phone, and boy, that took a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
3 minutes to make the call to Caleb Williams. Yeah, I have no confidence in the Bears. I'm not impressed with the Bears. We had issues with the Bears management all year long last year, and
Yeah.
they did not come through. They did not make good decisions. We'll see if they mess this one up. I mean, they're going to
Yeah.
run the ball. Are they going to really utilize Caleb? I mean, what are they going to do around him to make that team great? I know they brought in Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's going to be a heck of a target, but he's older.
Yeah.
He's been injured a lot. So I don't know what they're going to do. Mooney's gone.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do to help Caleb? They did not help
Well,
our quarterback from Ohio State, Justin Fields.
Let me just say this. I actually think this is one of the best situations that a number one overall pick has ever come into. If you think about it, it's very much in the vein of the Vikings. Like, they have two elite receivers in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. They have Cole Kmet and Jared Everett at tight end, two great tight ends. They have cornerstone tackles that they drafted these past few years that are very talented. They played DeAndre Swift, and they have good backups as well. They have the weapons for this guy to succeed. And not only that, their defense was really, really good the second half of the year. The only concern I have is you had the chance to move on from your defensive-minded head coach who looked overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
You could have gone with Ben Johnson.
Right.
You could have hired Belichick. You could have hired, somebody else, like the OC from the Texans. There's so many guys you could have brought in. You could have gone after Jim Harbaugh. An offensive-minded young guy like LaFleur and Love, right? You could have linked these two guys together and gone off into the sunset, but they kept this defensive-minded head coach. Now, Caleb's going to run through OCs for the rest of his career, which I hate for a young guy. And so I just think that's where they made the mistake, even though this is a 7-win team that could easily win 10 games this year because the quarterback plays better. So I really like the Bears this year, actually. Just don't like the head coach.
Okay, you gonna let me get in here and talk a little bit, or you?
Hey, I'm watching the clock. I'm watching the clock timer. I think that was about 2 minutes 30 seconds.
You're trying to fill the space. You're trying to fill the space. Well, I mean, you got DJ Moore out there. DJ Moore's there. It's going to be DJ and Keenan Allen,
yeah,
which are two great receivers. So, okay, Cole Kmet, they bring in Gerald Everett to back him up. All right, okay, good. I just don't know about this management team.
I agree.
Together.
I agree.
Not make the playoffs. They just are killing themselves.
Gary, I'm telling you, they might in the NFC.
Yeah, they may.
They won 7 last year without Keenan Allen, without Jared Everett, without DeAndre Swift, with Justin Fields, and you bring all these new people in, plus a better quarterback. You tell me he can't get 3 more wins? Like, he can't be a 10-win team? That's sneaking into the playoffs. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I think that Caleb Williams jumps in right away and takes that spot, and he's
sure
going to be right there doing it from day one. He's a playmaker, great decision making. The pick is in, T Money, and I'm sure it's going to be Caleb.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get the show on the road here. It didn't need to take this long. I hate this about the first pick overall. They're all
Yeah.
clapping and hugging like they just did something they didn't expect right now. I'm looking in the Bears war room right now, and they're all hugging. Like, what do you already made this decision months ago? Like, what are we hugging about?
Yeah. Yeah. So where do you think, if you're, playing fantasy football, you going to start Caleb Williams this year?
Honestly, Gary, he's a fringe kind of guy to me.
Yeah.
With those weapons and two good tackles, I do think they're going to lean on the run game. But Swift is not a carries guy. He's more a pass catcher guy, and he's going to be the starter. So I like him as like a fantasy backup quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years the guy's a top 5 quarterback if they can replenish the weapons. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, who do you like for fantasy purposes on that offense with Caleb Williams now? We got DeAndre, DJ, Keenan. Who do you like as a
oh,
starter for your fantasy team?
that's a tough one because I do think Keenan Allen is a phenomenal route runner. DJ Moore's young and on the up right now. He's ascending. So I think DJ Moore is going to be the guy that relates to Caleb better and he builds that relationship better. And so he probably gets more targets this year. So that's probably who I would go with is DJ Moore. I like Swift. I think they paid him to be a workhorse. So I think that guy could, what's he being drafted around RB20? And that guy could be a top 10 running back if the circumstances are right. So keep your eye out for Swift for sure. He could be a really good value in the draft.
Okay, the USC quarterback is walking up to the stage here, and he is
Yeah.
selected. So it is in, and it's Caleb walking up to the stage. And of course, they're going to get a big hug from the commissioner. Everybody
Yeah.
gets a hug from the commissioner, whether they want it or not. He's giving them a hug. And Caleb gets his hug from the commissioner. Okay.
I think I'm a little bit ahead of you, G man. Watch out. I think I'm about 30 seconds ahead of you, maybe a minute. So, Commanders are on the clock. That's all I know. How much? I had 6:35 for the Commanders right now. So
Oh,
I don't know.
good.
I don't know what you can see.
I see
Yeah.
what you see.
Oh,
You keep
okay.
telling me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Commanders next, man. I was a little disappointed to hear they hired Dan Quinn. This is another opportunity for them to kind of start fresh and get away from an older defensive minded guy, but I get they're trying to reset the culture there. That's the biggest thing everyone's talking about is Dan Quinn's just a good guy. He's a culture setter, kind of like Sean McDermott, right? Up in Buffalo. Like that guy might not be able to get the Bills over the hump, so they may need to move on. Boy, did he change the culture and make them perennial playoff guys, but someone might need to come in and take over now. So that's kind of Dan Quinn's mold, I think. So we'll see how these Commanders do, moving forward. But this quarterback they draft here is going to be the real tell, and how they perform moving forward.
And I think we both projected Jaden Daniels here for this second spot. But I would not be surprised if Drake May got in there. So I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. But I think it's Jaden Daniels. You think it's Jaden Daniels? They're trying to get a quarterback for Kingsbury, the new OC. That'll be a good fit. Kyler put up good numbers under Kingsbury. They got Austin Eckler in there too, T Money. So got a little weapon there.
Yeah, nice little weapon with Austin Eckler. Boy, did that guy fall off a cliff. Austin Eckler just dropped
Yes,
out of nowhere. Man, that guy
I
was
know.
on top of the world, and then all of a sudden he's struggling to even find a job. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to
They
see
do have
how
a
that
great
running back
receiving
core.
core in Washington.
Yeah, do they?
I do like the receivers. So a quarterback coming in there, picking up the receivers. Yeah, I like the receiver core. I mean, they got Jahan Dotson, they've got McLaurin,
Yeah, I think they're
and they've got
fine.
Eckler who can catch the ball. So they got Zach Ertz at the tight end. So I think this receiving core could be good. Right now, the quarterback's Marcus Mariota. Definitely going to be a
Yeah.
step up there, T Money.
I mean, I'm enthralled by this receiving core. I'll tell you that right now. Zach Ertz looks like he's on his last leg. Jahan Dotson shows flashes, but let's see it consistently. He's kind of a game breaker that doesn't know how to run routes. That's kind of what I'm seeing out of it. And look, I love Terry McLaurin. The guy's consistent as shit, but and maybe that's quarterback play that he hasn't taken the next level. But I mean, if you're comparing this to the Bears, it's night and day. It's not the weapons that they have. So sure, it's cute and it's fun. I think it's better than the Patriots, offensive weapons. That's a very low bar though. You know what I mean? So, that's what you got to, what are you comparing it to ultimately?
And so we will see here on the clock here what Washington's going to do. They could trade. There's been rumor that people are talking to Washington, trying to get them to trade. There could be a trade.
Yeah, well, again, here, this is what I'm talking about. What? These guys have known for 3 months that Caleb Williams was going number one. Why it has 8 minutes gone by?
Yeah. Okay.
It's crazy.
You said that. Okay.
Oh, thanks.
But I think if they do trade, if that's why it's delaying, if that's delayed because of the trade, that's okay. And I think what who could trade is your Vikings, your Raiders.
They're not trading.
Someone could go up and get Washington and get Washington falls back and takes, JJ McCarthy or Michael Penix.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. They're about to pick someone. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna trade this pick away. They brought in their pick is in also. They brought in Warriors their old president of operations. So they're really trying to clean house there. And, they got new ownership. So, I'm looking forward to the Commanders, doing some stuff this year. I'd love for them to change their name. I think they have a shitty name, but they've gone through 3 names in 3 years. So we'll see if they go through a rebrand this offseason or not. But, they're at least headed in the right direction after they got Dan Snyder out of there.
Okay, what do you see? And are you got a pick yet?
I do not have a pick yet.
Pick is in too.
Yeah. So my guess is Jaden Daniels here. The guy's just too dynamic to pass up. It's crazy stat about Jaden Daniels. I'm sure he's going to be the pick here. Jaden Daniels actually played in a game where he threw to Brandon Ayuk in a game that he beat Justin Herbert in when he was at Arizona State. How wild is that? Brandon Ayuk
that is crazy.
Passed a touchdown to Brandon Ayuk in a game he beat Justin Herbert in. That's how long this guy's been in college. So I think that's the other trepidation with Jaden Daniels is he a made man? Is what he is? Because what is he, 24, 25 years old compared to, Caleb and Drake May and JJ McCarthy. So that's the other thing you got to think about with some of these older, super senior guys that kill it, because they've had so much time in college. So that's kind of why Bo Nix gets the knock. But Jaden just had an electric season, so we'll see what they do here.
All right, I got him right at the mic. What do you got?
Yeah, I got him right here. Jaden Daniels pick is in here, man. So yeah, that's it. Pretty crazy. Good for this guy.
Okay.
Good for this guy. Completely turned himself around. Right. Looked like a bust when he was Arizona State. And just went to LSU, worked his ass off. Brian Kelly said he's, never been around a quarterback that's worked that hard. And so he really did a great job this year and he killed it. The guy looked spectacular this year.
Well, I love to see it too. And he reminds everybody of a, skinnier, taller, lighter Lamar Jackson. Kind of like Lamar. He's going to be tough just like Lamar. People cannot tackle Lamar and he gets out in open space. And this is what Jaden Daniels like. And he can throw it too. He can throw it better than Lamar threw it when he came out of Louisville.
Yep,
100%.
I
think he's a little better thrower. He's going to be very elusive like Lamar. Hopefully puts on a little bit of weight. So I like him. Exciting player.
Yeah, and fun fact about this guy, there's a lot of rumors about the Raiders really wanted to trade up and try to get him, and he wanted to go to the Raiders. Antonio Pierce was actually a player personnel coach while he was at Arizona State. So they have a connection from back in the day. So I know the Raiders really wanted this guy. So, exciting times for Washington. Happy for you guys. Hopefully this is your QB for the foreseeable future. And, he looks like a beast.
Seems like yeah, he looks great. A tall guy. You can tell. Look at he's over the top of the commissioner.
Yeah.
So he's got some height and he can run.
Yes, he can.
So it's going to be fun to watch him. It's going to be exciting, really, to watch Washington with him on that team. And the only college football player ever to pass for 12,000 and rush for 3,000. First guy ever to do that.
Crazy talented dude for sure.
10.
Yeah. He looks more like 190, and that's the problem if you're 6'3" and you're 190. He's just a skinny guy. Well, I'm saying that's water weight on a day that he ate a bunch and stuff. He probably is living around 195. You know what I mean?
Here's man. T-Money, you're fired up at night, man.
Yeah. This is where things start to get interesting, G-Man. We got
the night shows.
I love the night ones. This is where things start getting interesting. New England's on the clock. 5 minutes in, they still haven't made a pick. And so are they going to move out of this spot? These next 3 or 4 spots are all tradable spots. So you think they're going to draft Drake May, JJ? What are your gut feeling on these Patriots right now?
Well, I'm right where we were when we started the show. I'm still think they're going with Drake May. They need a quarterback. I think Drake May would be a good one for them. He's the best pick they can make. I mean, don't mess it up, man. These New England fans will go crazy if they don't get a quarterback. And Bailey Zappi and Jacoby Brissett, no. It's got to be Drake May right here.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Their pick is in already, so they didn't waste much time, which I like. Let's get to the business here.
Okay,
you like
a management team that you like.
Some Kirk Cousins right there. You like that?
I know. You like that. I love that. I love that when he says that.
Yeah. So
Kirk's going to be saying that for the Falcons this year. We'll see if he says that for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Cousins over to the Falcons this year.
Yeah, big move.
That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. So exciting for the Patriots here. Picks in. They did not trade it. So unless the commissioner says it, I guess he could come up and announce a trade. I think that's typically how it works, right? Jaden Daniels, first QB since Dwayne Haskins to be drafted in the first round by the Commanders. So we'll see. He reminds me a lot of RG3, who was already there. So hopefully this guy can stay healthy.
Ian Rappaport reporting that the Giants and Vikings made a play to get the Patriots pick and could not convince them. So the Patriots are making the pick.
Wow. Well, I bet the Arizona's phone's ringing off the hook right now, I'm sure.
Yeah. What are my Cardinals going to do? You got my Cardinals hat on here because Marvy is coming up next. We will see. That's the next pick. But Patriots, Drake May is the guy. They got a quarterback. They thought they had a quarterback a couple years ago, and it didn't work out. Now, will Drake May work out?
Or JJ? You never know. Man, Drake May looks so young. Holy crap. He
does.
He looks so young. That guy looks 15 years old. My God.
He's got that Carolina blue sneakers on everybody's talking about.
Yeah. All right. I think the commissioner's finally coming up. Let's pick up the pace there, Roger. All right.
I was going to wear my Carolina blue sneakers to T-Money's wedding coming up, but he wanted me to wear black, so I got to go black.
I had to lay down the law. Like, hey, can I have blue laces at your wedding? Yeah. Bright blue laces.
T-Money get married, everybody. Our next show is after his wedding, so we will let T-Money get married, go on his honeymoon. We'll be back to you soon.
I'll get the ring on. Yeah. Exactly. So here we go.
Everybody asked for his ring. It is Drake May. Drake May is the pick.
All right. G-Man and I called that one. So we're 3 for 3 right now.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you do? Drake May 6'4", 223.
Yeah, people are, what I've heard more than the Daniel Jones is the Josh Allen, right? He's got the running, and I've heard
that too.
But I've also said this on our show many times that Daniel Jones, who you compared him to, is the poor man's Josh Allen. So I think there's two avenues for this guy to
Right.
go, right? If he meets his
Yeah,
potential,
right.
he can be Josh Allen. And if he just is a good guy who you think, and again, it's a lot about where you get selected. And I don't like the Patriots. So I do see him going that Daniel Jones route just because I don't trust the offensive minds in New England. So that's what's going to
Well,
be so
that's
interesting
right.
about
That's
this.
part of it.
Yeah.
New England has the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets to get by. Can they get by that crew of teams there in their division?
No, they're a long ways away from being competitive. They probably have the worst roster in the NFL.
Oh
So,
gosh.
yeah, that's
Well, those
it's
fans got to be happy tonight, though.
yeah, good for them. So, I want to speak on Arizona real quick. I know you think they're drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. Do you think they should draft Marvin Harrison Jr. or trade out?
Yeah, they've got Kyler. Kyler has told the management who he wants. Kyler's now in love with the new management team, and he has told them what he wants. And I think they're going to give him what he wants. And I think he wants a nice receiver like Marvin Harrison. I think they're going
Okay.
wide receiver because Kyler wants a wide receiver. Marquise Brown's not there anymore. Rondale Moore's not there. So they
Yeah.
got an opening here. It could
Yeah.
be Neighbors. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Neighbors.
Yeah,
It
that's what
kind
I've
of
heard.
who's their top receiver that they like. But I'm gonna go Marvy and see if he's the guy here. What do you
Okay.
think?
Hey, I didn't know you had the inside scoop on Kyler over here. I'm gonna have to start calling you Gian Rappaport over here. Gian Rappaport. That's what I'm gonna call you. Yeah. No, yeah, I think they're going to go wide receiver. This guy's, I would be shocked if they went Neighbors. I think if Marquise Brown, had worked out and they had signed him to a longer term contract, they could take the upside play of Neighbors. But I think if their receiving room is depleted, and right now they just need a stable guy in there, and I think that's Harrison. So that's why I think Marvin's getting drafted next because of how scarce their wide receiver room is.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there. And we will see. I think now that the top three have been taken, the quarterbacks, there's
Yeah.
no reason for the Vikings to jump up here to 4 to get a quarterback. They can
Well, I
wait
mean,
now and get JJ or Michael Penix.
well, yeah. The thing I've heard is, like you've mentioned, the Giants have tried to move up for JJ. So that they're calling right now. And personally, I hope that they take a wide receiver. I'm rooting for my Chargers because I love Justin Herbert and Dynasty Fantasy Football. And I'm a Jim Harbaugh fan. So, I hope they can get a bunch of picks. I think that would be great for the Chargers. So I am hoping that Arizona does just take someone, but clearly they're fielding offers right now because they're deep in the clock, getting close to 3 minutes left. So, it's here we go. Pick is in. I just saw that come in. So,
I don't think they're trading. No one's going
yeah,
up to that 4 spot now. They're
yeah,
going
I
to
don't
jump
think
into
so.
7 or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's why the Giants was intriguing. Let's say you did like Malik Neighbors more than Marvin Harrison Jr. Then you could probably trade with the Giants, right? But my guess is they really like Marvin Harrison Jr. and they're going to take it. Let's see if me and you can go
Yes.
4 for 4 here. But
Hey,
yeah.
1, 2, 3. Last time there was a 1, 2, 3 quarterback was the Trevor Lawrence year.
Okay. That was that was Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. Funny fact about
Yes.
that draft class: Trevor Lawrence, after the Zach Wilson trade, is now the only first round quarterback still on the team that drafted him. So, very funny about that draft. I just saw everyone else has been traded to a different team. So, good for Trevor Lawrence at least.
Yeah. Okay. The Cardinals pick is in. Team money. We'll see if we go 4 for 4. I think we both have Marvin Harrison here.
Yeah.
And let's see if that happens.
Oh man, yeah.
They
And do you
got
see all these? The crowd there looks awesome, doesn't it? They've been showing some aerial views for you. It looks so packed, so fun there. That would be fun to go to. If the Bengals or the Browns
hey,
hosted one day, that'd be fun.
I told you my dream is us doing a live show there. Here comes the pick.
Here we go. All right. They select. G-Man is about 1 second ahead of me. So Marvin Harrison
Not really.
Jr. There we go.
Hey, there we go, Marvy. There we go, Marvy.
All right.
All right.
Congrats, Buckeyes. Congrats. There you go, G-Man. That guy is such a
Marvy,
stud.
man. He's big, man. He's big.
He's
6'3".
huge.
He's gonna be tough to capture him, man. He's just goes up and gets the ball.
Yeah, he's a beast. Ultimate route runner. One of the best receivers to come out in years. I think, you know, I'm just trying to think of the last guy. I know Chase went top 5, but I would think that Marvin Harrison's probably better than Chase.
Oh,
So
easy now, easy,
I know
easy.
it. Hey, you're talking to a Bengal here, but Marvin Harrison's route running is just unbelievable. And what's crazy is everyone
Yeah,
knew he was getting the ball, and that guy all of a sudden has 17 catches, and you're like, what the hell happened? That's what's
yeah.
so impressive.
Looking at last year's draft, no wide receiver in the top 12.
No. Yeah,
Crazy,
and
just crazy how different the 2 years are.
yeah, yeah. And
Because we got 3 wide receivers that are going to be in the top 12 this year when there was none last year. There's
mhm.
Murray, led the Big Ten, 1,200 receiving yards, 10th in college football, led the Big Ten. Big year
Yep.
for him.
Big year. And I did see that this guy's not just an impressive route runner and can catch the ball and, can go up and contest. I saw that, and like I mentioned earlier, everyone knew the ball was going to him. He saw the most double coverage of anyone in NCAA and had the best double coverage percentage of anyone in the NCAA. One of the best to come out in like 10 plus years. So his skill is unbelievable. He's so polished. He is immediately coming into the league and going to be a 1,200-yard receiver. So get that guy in fantasy, people. Get that guy in fantasy. This guy's immediately going to be he will be a top 24 wide receiver immediately. So,
well, will he be the top fantasy rookie pick, T Money?
yes, he will. Yes, he will. And the reason is
I think he could be.
because there's no one else on that team to catch a ball.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz is gone. I mean, they have a good McBride. The tight end is solid, but they have no one in that receiving room. So this is going to be the guy. Kyler's going to love him. And I think he's going to have 1,200 yards minimum. I think that's his floor.
Yeah. The wide receiving core is Chris Moore, Greg Dortch, and Michael Wilson.
Yeah. So I think we all can agree that he's gonna.
Marty is gonna take over.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that he's gonna be the wide receiver 1 on that team. So, and Kyler is trying to not run as much, and so yeah, he's just an unbelievable prospect. So congrats to you, Buckeye. There you go, G-Man. Top 4 pick.
Buckeye Nation. Let's go to the 5th pick. Here's where all hell could break loose.
Where all hell could break loose. You're
the
right.
Chargers sit. Yeah, I'm saying Chargers are going to stay there and take that offensive lineman because Harbaugh wants to run the ball. I'm still sticking with Joe Alt at the offensive tackle, and he'll get a great one. Plug him right in, left tackle, and they can go. Joe Alt, I think, has got to be the picker because of Harbaugh wanted to establish that run.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm agreeing with you here. I do think Nabers is a high possibility because the wide receiver room is so depleted. So I think it's a coin flip between those two if they stay. I do think they're fielding offers right now. It'd be very interesting. It'd be very interesting if they could get one extra pick from the Giants, a first rounder, and move back one spot. I think that would be very spicy. Can they get one first pick? Because
Chargers still.
Yeah.
Chargers still chasing the Kansas City Chiefs. They just can't get the Chiefs. They've been trying for years. Will this be the year they can get over the hump and get the Chiefs? But Man, they're in a tough division with the Chiefs doing so well the last few years.
Yeah, they are. That's a very, very tough division. They have the second best quarterback in the division though. And you look at the Rams and the Niners, both competing in Super Bowls. You can do that. Look at the Ravens and the Bengals. So
You think
but it's tough. It's tough because especially in that specific division, you're always going to come out of the wild card. You will never win that division with Patrick Mahomes.
and they bring in some Baltimore Raven running backs,
Yeah.
Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. So they
Yep.
bring in that his brother's rushing attack. He's
Yeah.
going to put that in out there.
Yep, he did. And he brought the former OC, Greg Roman, who was Lamar's OC for the previous 5+ seasons and before they brought in Todd Monken from Georgia this past year. So, yeah, they're going to be a ground and pound offense out there in the Charger land. So, but I do think they're trading this one, G-Man. If they stay put, I like Joe Alt. I think that'd be a great pick. But I just got a feeling Minnesota's making too big of a push here. They are so quarterback needy. And, they went out and got a second first-round pick, even though they didn't have one. They made a trade with the Texans because they wanted to move up. They went and got that first-round draft pick. So I do think that it would be a waste of draft capital to not make a trade at this point because this isn't a great draft post, about 15. There's not a lot of elite prospects left. So I'd be shocked if they stayed at this point.
Okay, I don't think it's going to happen because I think the Vikings could still move. They're in the 11th spot. They probably want to be in 6 or 7, or they could even go to 7. And probably still pick up JJ if that's who they want. If they want Penix, they could get him at 11. Penix will be there at 11. So the only reason to move up, the only reason they move up is to get JJ, right?
I know, and the pick is in. G-Man. Let's see if he goes 4 for 4. My head says they should take Nabers, but my heart says Jim Harbaugh wants a chicken cutlet eating Joe Alt. You know what I mean? So he wants a milk drinking offensive tackle. That's what he wants. All right. So my head says Nabers, my heart says Joe Alt.
If we get a trade, I lose my bet. So there's no trade, right? The pick is in.
Well, I guess so. I would assume pick is in means that, because they would call out the trade typically before they claim the pick is in. So yes.
Okay. Well, let's see what the Chargers do. They traded away Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, went to the Jets. Yeah. What are they going to do here?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. But I think we know who they're, it's either going to be that guy or that, it's Joe Alt or Nabers. So, I could see him taking a Dunze. A lot of guys like a Dunze. So heads up I just think receiver or Joe Alt. But my guess is that they have a really, really great left tackle already. My guess is they go with a receiver. I'm gonna lay it down. There you go. Right now we got Adam Schefter reporting the Chargers turned away multiple trade offer calls for
Vikings?
Justin Herbert. Like I said.
So
I told you that people were thinking they could do that. Okay. I told you.
Yeah,
T-Money.
You are right.
Call me
Good call there.
Ian Rappaport over here, Ian Rappaport.
Wow, here comes the selection walking up to the podium.
Yeah.
Who are we going to get here?
I'm taking a wide receiver, even though I think, my heart says Joe Alt. All right. Roger Goodell.
Joe Alt.
They picked Joe Alt. G-Man is 5 for 5. Woo!
6'8", 320. Joe Alt, man. Big, huge Notre Dame tackle.
Yeah, people are saying this guy is going to be a cornerstone guy as well for many, many years to come because he's actually kind of small and he has amazing footwork and like so. Oh wow, Gina, and his father was also an NFL player, so that's this back-to-back guys with NFL dads. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. John
Oh yeah,
Alt.
that's true. Yeah, nice.
Well, good for the Chargers. They're going to be happy with
Hey,
that.
351 times he's blocked for passes and only given up 1 sack.
That's crazy. The guy's a beast. The guy is a beast. And, I can't say, I will never fault a team for taking an offensive tackle. That's one thing. I can yell at you for taking Drake May. I can yell at you for selecting, a running back or a wide receiver or a linebacker. I will never fault a team that selects an offensive tackle. That's the one thing you can always
Harbaugh's hugging people.
Yeah, I don't see that yet.
Harbaugh's getting all the hugs.
Yeah,
well, maybe watching a different channel than you.
They'll probably show it in a minute. They're showing Joe Alt highlights right now. Yeah, I'm on ESPN. They're showing Joe Alt highlights right now. So, yeah, good for him, man. That guy is freaking huge. Holy shit. But yeah, good for the Chargers. Dude. Again, they're going to be beasts. Run first, man. This team is going to lead the NFL in rushing, so watch out. Everyone's going to get a bite at an apple on that team. I did win
my bet. My bet that I called before we started, JJ McCarthy could not go in the top 5, and I won that one. Team money. There you go.
Attaboy, G-Man.
Does JJ go? Well, let's talk about the Giants. I mean, the Giants are up next. 5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah.
And the Giants, everybody's saying they need a quarterback. I don't think they're going quarterback. I don't see the reason for them to go quarterback. They have 1 more year left on the contract with Daniel Jones. They're not going to do any better than Daniel Jones. If they do, maybe slightly better. I don't think they do it here. I think they go Malik Nabers. They pick up the LSU receiver.
It's in already. So this, I agree. I think G-Man, I'm on the same page as you. That I think they should take Nabers, but
yeah,
I don't know what was happening on Rich Eisen's show today. JJ McCarthy, maybe not today, maybe yesterday. They were interviewing JJ McCarthy. He said, "Are you going to be drafted high? Who's been really coming after you?" And he's like, "Yeah, the Giants have been telling me they're going to pick me." So JJ said the Giants are going to pick me already. So. I think that's what's so interesting is clearly they're enamored with him and at least telling him. And this will be a big one. I think Tennessee is the next team that's most likely trading out. They were destined to be with Joe Alt. So if JJ's not picked here, my hard money is on Tennessee trading out of that pick and going to Minnesota.
I just can't believe they're going to give up on Jones like this.
He's not good. He's not good. He's not good. But ruined the locker room.
Look what happened. Look what happened to San Fran when they started doing that. Look at the Green Bay. How Aaron Rodgers got ticked. I don't think they need to do that.
For one, he's not Aaron Rodgers. 2, he has no guaranteed money after this year. 3, they pissed off the locker room by paying that idiot and not paying Saquon Barkley. So they already messed up the locker room. All right. Yeah. Daniel Jones is gone. That guy's a backup in this league. That guy's a backup. He's done. He is done.
Well, we're going to find out if he's done right here. I think they keep Jones and they go Nabers. You're saying they're going JJ. We're going to see, okay?
I think they should go Nabers, but I do think they are going to pick JJ McCarthy.
You can't say that every pick. You're like, my heart in my head. No, I want to know what your pick is.
I told you they were going to pick a receiver, and I was wrong, okay? I'm telling you they're going to pick JJ, even though I think they should choose a receiver.
Oh, stop it. Just stop it.
If they pick a receiver, I'm wrong, but, I got a
receiver.
I think they choose JJ. G-Man 6 for 6.
I didn't get it yet.
And Malik Nabers is the pick.
I told you, my man.
I know.
I told you.
But You want to talk about fantasy irrelevance? If Daniel Jones is throwing you passes, you might as well call yourself turf because there are going to be a lot of ones flying at your feet. Yeah. So
Yeah.
better learn how to paint. Better learn how to paint some white lines on your face, there, big guy, because that's all Daniel Jones knows how to throw at is the ground.
Man, I don't agree with that, Daniel Jones. I don't agree with that. Oh
So
man.
I do feel bad for Neighbors. I'm not sure how the hell he has fantasy relevance this year. My guess is Neighbors has 800 yards and, has some huge boomer plus games. I think they'll kind of use him, jet sweeps and things like that, very Debo-esque, just to get him involved in the
So you're
offense.
not
But I'm not thrilled with him on the Giants just because Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. So
Neighbors 6 feet, Harrison 6'3". Just shows you how big Harrison is. But
yeah,
Neighbors is the size of Chase. Jamar Chase and Neighbors are about the same size, and they're
yeah,
kind of similar players.
they are. They are very
So
similar players. Yeah,
I think that Chase has the better quarterback,
thousand
and
percent.
so that will help. And I guess they're going to have the same receiving quarterback there in Cincinnati this year. So word was they were potentially going to trade, but then again, the trade offers.
No, no.
I talk about the Bengals. Uh, so they are going to Chase is still going to be the number one out there in the Bengal land, and they'll still be throwing to T. Higgins.
Yeah,
T. Higgins just going to get an offer that he wanted, so he'll be back in Cincinnati, from what I've heard.
yeah. Probably the Bengals don't care, man. They're just going to run it back and run it back. They're going to continue to do that. So, yeah, we'll see. Go Bengals, baby. But what do you think about Tennessee, man? This is a really weird spot for them. They every single mock draft had Joe Alt locked into Tennessee. There was no other, options. They weren't even thinking about wide receiver. Plus, they just signed Calvin Ridley, and they had DeAndre Hopkins. They have quarterback and Will Levis. They signed some running backs. What is your head thinking right now? Now that Joe Alt's gone, they got to be trading out of this, right?
We need to do next year the father son mock draft because we're nailing all of these.
G-Man is nailing them
I
right
got my
now.
seventh pick already. My
All
seventh
right.
pick's already in. The Titans, I think, are going offensive line here. I think that
They should have.
Will Levis needs an offensive line. Will Levis was running for his life last year. Okay. And they made some moves in the offseason. They did bring in Calvin Ridley. I think they're going to invest in the offensive line or team money. I think they're going offensive linemen. They're the best one. I mean, there's a couple that it could go to. I've heard some different stories, but I think it's J.C. Latham, the Alabama offensive tackle, going to the Titans here. They build up the offensive line for Will Levis.
Wow. Interesting. I know they need offensive
The other
line
offensive
bad.
tackles, Fashanu from Penn State's the other offensive tackle people like in the top 20, but so
Yeah.
it could be him.
I'm gonna go with the so Fashanu is the best pass protector offensive line. So you got to remember that he's the best pass protector, the best PFF grade this year in pass protection. So that's what's interesting about him. I actually think is it Fuanga from Oregon State? I think he might be ranked the second best guy left though, or second best offensive tackle behind Joe Alt. So that's going to be my guess here that they go Oregon State tackle, but I think we're both on the same page here, G-Man. They don't need anything but offensive tackle, so the pick is in. Roger's probably going to be walking up here in a few minutes, but my guess is same as yours. I think offensive tackle. I just think we differ on our big board here of offensive tackles. I'm going to go with the Oregon State guy. You're going with the Penn State guy.
I'm going Alabama.
Alabama. I apologize, but
I think the Penn State guy could be picked.
Yeah, that's your second guy.
Or even your Oregon State guy. Any one of those three.
Yeah, my guess is the Oregon State guy. But I love the Penn State guy personally. I think, that's one guy I would go after if I was the Bengals. I would love him. We're a pass first team, so I would love that guy for sure. But
So here we are, Father, Son, Holy Sport, taking you through the top 10 live, the 2024 draft. How about it, everybody? You're excited about the coming year. We're trying to get you going here and making our picks, getting you going with some bets. Our bets are hitting and our picks are hitting. The Father, Son mock draft is killing it. And so
G-Man.
here we go. Working our way to the Jets at the 10 spot. Maybe we'll stick around for the Vikings at 11 to see what the heck they do, because they're trying to get quarterback, but now they got to decide, T Money, are they going to go get JJ McCarthy, or is JJ going to fall to them? He could potentially fall to them. Because in between them and the Titans is the Falcons. They've got Kirk Cousins. The Bears are at 9, so the Bears don't need a quarterback, and then the Jets are after them, and they don't need a quarterback. So the Vikings can almost sit there right now, and JJ is going to fall to them.
Yeah, pretty crazy. You just got to watch out for the Broncos moving up, because that's what's really interesting about this one. 11, 12, and 13 are all very, very quarterback needy teams, the Vikings, Broncos, and then Raiders. So those will all be interesting picks here.
Penix will be there for all three of those teams.
Yeah, Penix,
one of them's taking Penix.
Yeah, Penix and Bo Nix. So it'll be interesting to see if they go with those guys. But I think someone's going to have to trade up. I think at some point you're going to see the Broncos, call the Falcons like, hey, can we move up? And then the Falcons are going to call the Vikings and be like, hey, they just called me. You trying to move up or what? So
yeah, the Vikings are saying right now, we must just wait. Why would they do it?
Well, what's interesting is they don't have to give up a first round pick to move up anymore. Being at 11, you're probably giving up a third round pick to move up now.
The Broncos and the Raiders are the ones that got to move up, because the Vikings are ahead of them. So the Broncos and Raiders are behind the Vikings. They've got to jump the Vikings if they want to get, let's say, JJ. I think Penix will still be there.
Yeah, exactly. And this will be interesting too. We got all these commercials going on right now. Titans pick's been in for about 5 minutes now. By the time we get back, I'm just saying, by the time we get back, Atlanta's going to have their pick in. I'm telling you, Atlanta's on the clock currently. I'm just saying, Atlanta is on the clock, and it's, they've had their pick in for the, Titans for the last 6 minutes. So we might have 2 picks in at the same time. That's all I'm saying. There might be 2 picks in at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I think after this offensive lineman, I think that the next 2 teams, if there's not a trade, go defense. So I'll be telling you my defensive picks here coming up after. Let's see if the Titans go offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that Chicago, the rumors have been wide receiver. So that's what I've heard. Chicago is trying to get some wide receiver depth. And Dunze has been kind of mocked there in a lot of mocks that I've seen. So watch out for that for Chicago.
Okay, pick is in. Here we go. I'm walking up to the podium. The commissioner.
G-Man, let's throw us for a ringer here. Just draft someone crazy. Brock Bowers. Just go crazy. You know what I mean? We haven't even spoke about him yet. Make it interesting. Let's see the selection here. JC Latham.
And it is JC Latham. Oh my God. G-Man.
I can't believe you just called him. You called the Alabama offensive tackle. It's 7 for 7. Nice. 7 for 7.
What?
Holy shit. G-Man, you need to start putting out a goddamn mock draft. This is insane.
I'm almost on my. This is great.
Yeah.
Big dude, man.
Huge.
Big dude right here.
Yeah. Falcons are on the clock, and already 4 minutes have gone by.
First team all SEC. There you go, man. Right there's credibility.
Big
970
boy.
pass blocks, 2 sacks.
Crazy.
Great. Yeah.
But he's also a right tackle. Do you spend that big of a draft pick on a right tackle? That's what's interesting. But he's a run. Yeah. He's a run blocker. That guy is gonna. If you want to run the ball, that's your guy. So good for them. This next team though is going to be really interesting. I don't know what the Falcons do here. My guess.
Look how much bigger he is than the commissioner.
I know he's huge. The Falcons here are interesting. They got their man in Kirk Cousins. The offense seems, pretty legit. They got their Kyle Pitts. They got Drake London. They got Bijan. That solid offensive line. Now it's defense for this team. Dallas Turner has been projected here from day one to Atlanta. So that would be my guess here is they go defense if they don't trade it. And the pick is in already. So they have not traded the pick.
Yeah.
The Falcons. G-Man, I need to hear your mock draft option here. Where were you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going Jared Verse, the edge rusher from Florida State.
Ooh.
I could be Turner, but I think Turner goes next to the Bears. I think Bears go defense too.
Okay.
Try to build up that defense. So I like Verse at 8 to the Falcons, Turner at 9 to the Bears.
Yeah,
to the Bears. Yep.
That's really interesting. You say that too. Verse was a top 10 projected guy this year. And came back to school from Florida State. Jared Verse was projected to be a top 10 guy, and a lot of the mocks you see actually have him going in the late teens and sometimes early 20s. So the guy is very all over the place in his evaluation. So last year, he would have been a top 10 pick. So we'll see how this goes for Jared Verse. He could be, anytime now, or he could be dropping a lot. Like we mentioned, there's not a lot of defense in this draft. This is very offensive heavy with wide receivers, offensive tackles, and quarterbacks. So we'll see where he goes. I'm guessing Dallas Turner, though. That's my back-to-back Alabama boys is what I'm going to throw as my pick.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the Alabama defense. I mean,
Alabama defense,
had a great defense. And again, their players are going here. I mean, you got Latham, and now maybe Turner, and you've got another cornerback coming up, Arnold, that could go too here real quick. So great team there again at Alabama.
Oh yeah. So Atlanta's looking legit though. They got a good squad they're putting together. Fantasy wise, Kirk Cousins going to make that offense a little more relevant. Hopefully, makes Kyle Pitts more relevant for a lot of people that have been dying on that Kyle Pitts hill. I'm sure they're excited. So we'll see what Atlanta does here. But
who wants to win the NFC South?
Yeah, I don't think anybody. That's no one has ever wanted to win it. I think they just pass the torch around like hot potatoes. So.
I don't think they don't need to go receiver. They got Drake London. They brought in Darnell Mooney. They brought in Rondale Moore. They don't need receiver. So that's why I think they're going to the defense here. They've already got a quarterback. They're not going running back. They're going defense. So why not go defense, build that defense up? They need that.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well, G-Man. That would be my guess as well. So let's see what these boys do. Arthur Blank, the owner, decided not to go with Bill Belichick. He went with, a young stud at, defensive coordinator. So we'll see what these guys are like. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch the Falcons this year. They could be boom or bust, this team, especially in the NFC.
Ian Rappaport reporting that they're considering Michael Penix here at the 8th spot.
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy.
That is.
That seems a little too early.
Talking about succession. Yeah.
I mean, what, did he just sign a 3-year deal? So that seems a little too soon.
4-year deal for Kirk Cousins.
I think 3 were guaranteed.
Guaranteed for Cousins.
Yeah, 3 are guaranteed. Yeah. So 4-year deal. Yeah. So that's the only reason why.
Contract expert at Father.
Yeah, 4-year deal, 3-year guaranteed is, I think in guaranteed money, G-Man, that's all that really matters. Like Daniel Jones is not going to be on the Giant. Daniel Jones won't be on the Giants after next year because nothing's guaranteed. So that's kind of how I think.
So
all right,
and going back to G-Man's picks.
Here we go.
Going back to G-Man's picks. Odunze.
Holy shit, G-Man. Ian just called it. Ian just called it. Michael Penix Jr.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my God. What the hell just happened?
Yeah, you're a little ahead of me. I see that now. Yes, that's great. Wow.
Wow.
Look at Michael Penix with the white sunglasses. tried to start. Michael Penix has to be ecstatic about this.
That
Going in the
is
top 10.
crazy. And doing it over JJ McCarthy, who was supposed to be the guy. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That is
Yes, it is.
crazy. That is
They
crazy.
go. They go for the future. Their succession of Kirk Cousins. Wow.
Wow. They must
Maybe they're going to
love
deal
him.
Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, they could play him for a year and then trade him. They could do that.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that.
That is wild. Sit behind Cousins for a year, and then you trade him to the Giants. That's where I would trade Kirk Cousins.
There's people. There's people going nuts right now with that pick because they wanted to get Penix later, and the Falcons just dumped it and took him right now.
Well, and it's because they were not projected to take a quarterback. Like they just messed up everybody's draft board. I had him going to
They
the
messed up a
Raiders.
lot of people.
I had him going to the Raiders in my mind. That was where I saw him. I wanted him to go to Seattle, but I thought he would go to the Raiders. So this is where it gets interesting. Now, I think people start getting desperate. Like, oh shit, JJ's the only guy left, and then it's Bo Nix. This is crazy.
I do think he can throw the ball further than Kirk Cousins. He can get it
Yeah.
down the field better.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to get it down the field to Drake London or somebody, I think that might be a good spot for Michael Penix.
It'll be very interesting to see what he does. Yeah, this is crazy. And Penix, I think the biggest thing people are concerned about is injury. If he hadn't had 3 season-ending injuries, this guy'd be a top 3 pick. He would have been drafted over, Drake May. So that's the only thing people are concerned about. And if you think you can, you got the doctors, you got the facilities, you trust in, the medicals, then go get the guy, and they like him. So, but what's interesting is he's old.
Next pick, and the pick is
Bears are in. My bet's a Doomsday here.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I think the Bears go defense, man. I'm going to go to Jared Verse or Dallas Turner here to the Bears. The Bears love defense. I think the Bears are going to get a defensive guy.
I'm okay with
Doomsday. I think a Doomsday goes next. I think a Doomsday goes to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers wants a Doomsday. Aaron Rodgers is going to get a Doomsday. I think defense here, and then Aaron gets his wide receiver.
Yeah, my gut reaction would be yes, draft a defensive lineman. That would be my gut reaction. But I don't know.
A defensive player has always been taken in the top 8. This is the first time that a defensive player was not taken in the top 8.
Ever? That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's what I read that stat today.
Wow. That is, here we go. 2018, torn right ACL. 2019, torn or dislocated shoulder. 2020, torn ACL. And then 2021, another season-ending injury. 4 season-ending injuries for this guy. That's what's so crazy about Michael Penix. He can't stay healthy.
Yeah, right. I know.
And you're saying a Doomsday to the Jets, which is also extremely spicy. That would be a hell of a wide receiver duo and Garrett Wilson and a Doomsday. My gosh, that would be impressive. So let's see what the Bears do here. I'm always down. Like I said, I like offensive linemen. You can do that. I would have taken a wide receiver, but they signed Keenan Allen, and I think that's good stopgap for a year or two. So let's see what these guys do here.
Here we are. It's a Doomsday.
Woo!
A Doomsday goes to the Bears.
And this, very interesting.
Caleb Williams. Caleb gets a big gun with him.
And did I say this could be 10 freaking win team? Look at the weapons on this damn team. Look at the weapons. Woo! And he gets to learn from one of the best route runners in the league, and Keenan Allen. Like, my God. But
well, Aaron Rodgers is disappointed.
Do they
But
go
hey,
Brock Bowers here? That's the real question. That's the real question. Brock Bowers not talked about yet. On this show, the number one tight end prospect potentially ever. Outranking Kyle Pitts' ratings and all these things. Everyone's talking about Brock Bowers. Projected. Oh, Minnesota traded in to the Jets spot here. So Minnesota now has the
they've
10th
had
pick.
enough. Minnesota's had enough.
Minnesota has traded in. And what's interesting is they actually traded their 23rd pick with the Jets. They did not trade their 11th pick, so they get to go back to back, number 10 and number 11.
Oh my God.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Do they go get their boy JJ McCarthy here finally? Let's see. Very interesting.
They're getting a quarterback, and it's got to be JJ.
One of these two picks. One of these two picks will be a quarterback.
JJ's going to the Vikings.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah, and what's really interesting, fantasy-wise, I do want to mention the Bears real quick. I was speaking earlier about how it was a little weird, that Keenan Allen's there, like it's going to take stuff away from DJ Moore. This complicates that even more. I'm not sure if there's a value in some of these receivers for the Bears anymore. Is DJ Moore a top 12 wide receiver like he was last year? I'm not sure about that. There's a lot of mouths to feed on this offense. You got DeAndre Swift, who's a great pass catcher. This complicates things a lot here in Chicago. So this might be a team that might be explosive, also might be someone you might want to stay away from. So, drafting with a high price, if you can get them at a bargain, sure. But what are your thoughts on that, G-Man?
What, for the Bears?
Yeah.
Well, I think Keenan Allen's older. He's been injured a lot. So they have some gaps there. They could use some guns still. DJ Moore's great. So I think they could use another wide receiver.
Yeah.
Why not? So they don't have a lot of depth there. I mean, their depth is Dante Pettis and Colin Johnson.
Yeah, but this might be one of the best receiving cores in the league now. It's up there. So very interesting.
Okay, yeah. Oh, well, they're doing so. Yeah.
And then the Vikings, I'm going to reiterate what I said about the Vikings. They did trade the 11th pick to the Jets. The ESPN had not updated their bottom tracker. So that's why it said Minnesota and Minnesota back to back. I do want to apologize to the listeners and everyone.
Yes, you do.
It did say Minnesota and Minnesota, so they must have traded up. I'm sure they got a call that Denver was looking to trade in, or the Raiders were looking to trade in to get JJ McCarthy. So, but Minnesota's got to be happy. They probably only traded a fourth round pick to move up. So,
yes.
They got to be happy about JJ falling this far if you're in love with a guy that much.
Yes, this was definitely a successful draft for the Vikings, not having to give up a ton to get their quarterback. And, I could see where they were worried about the Jets, because the Jets could have taken McCarthy to back up Rodgers. So they could have been worried about that. Aaron's not going to be there forever. They could have went JJ. So the Vikings maybe had to do this.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting pick if they had gone, if they had drafted a quarterback. That would have been very, very interesting for sure.
Yeah, so they need that. There's really no one backing them up anymore. Tyrod Taylor is their only other quarterback.
Yeah. They could definitely use a solid backup, and even Tyrod Taylor's a very injury prone himself, so he's not the most reliable guy. They might need a good third young QB in there. So the pick is in. So we all assume the Vikings are taking JJ here. We got to wait for these commercials to finish up. While we've talked about the Vikings drafting JJ, my gosh, is this guy walking into something ready made or what? Holy shit! This team
Yeah,
stacked.
very much.
They have, they just traded for, or they signed Aaron Jones. They have a good offensive line. They have a bright young guy, as their head coach who really knows what he's doing. And the receiving core is great with Addison and JJ, Justin Jefferson. It's just a really, really good team to walk into, kind of like we mentioned with Caleb earlier. So excited for this.
Hawkinson.
Yeah, Hawkinson, an elite tight end. So, yeah, great
Wow.
place to go in if you're a young QB.
Well, let's wrap this show up after we see this Vikings pick and maybe the Jets pick and wrap it up, Team Money. Been a great time here going through these for the
Yes,
fans and giving them our bets and our picks. And man, it's been a great time. It's been there was no big trade until this last one. No big trade for the top 10 other than this little
crazy.
Vikings move from 11 to 10. So we didn't get the trades everybody talked about. But it's been exciting.
Yeah, that is crazy. The biggest trade of the night was from 11 to 10. Who would have thought that? After all the speculation we had going, and JJ getting talked about being drafted by Washington potentially to start this. JJ was even being talked about going second overall, probably about to get drafted here, but 5 quarterbacks go in the top 10. If they choose JJ here, which is pretty crazy. We didn't expect Penix to get drafted that early, but man, this is a pretty wild night for quarterbacks.
Penix was the big surprise, going number 8 to the Falcons of all people.
Crazy.
Who would have predicted that? So that was the big surprise. Was Penix going 8, jumping in there, and now the Vikings get to sit back and pick up their quarterback without having to give a lot away.
Yeah. Good for them. They played this draft smart. They really, they sucked it up. That's got to be hard sitting in that room and saying, I'm not going to trade this pick. I'm not going to move up. I'm not going to sacrifice things. That's got to be, hard to swallow. And now only have to move up one spot. You got to be pleased if you're sitting there as the general manager of the Vikings right now and still getting the guy you wanted when you might have had to trade up to 4 when you thought, earlier in this draft. So good for the Vikings, man. They really did this. Really, they played strategic. It was a great call.
Yeah. Pretty exciting here. We got the quarterbacks going, and the wide receivers really were exciting this year. I think Adunze, let's see, he was 9. So we had 3 wide receivers in the top 9, Team Money, and 4 quarterbacks in the top 8. 4 quarterbacks in the top 8.
Yeah.
It'll be 5 quarterbacks in the top 10 here in a minute.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, this was 3 positions that was drafted. You had 5 quarterbacks, you had 3 wide receivers, and you had 2 offensive tackles. And that kind of just shows you where this NFL is headed, doesn't it, G-Man? It's offensive talent, quarterbacks, they'll cycle through, and you need someone to protect you. So, it really does show where this NFL is headed if the Vikings do, in fact, select JJ here. So it's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Doing a little tribute here for a family as we wait for this pick here. The Vikings moving up to get the 10 pick from the 11. And Father, Son, Holy Sport bringing you the live draft here 2024. Our dreams to be live at the draft in the parking lot, Team Money, with our table set up. And we're going to announce this same show live someday.
Yes, we will do that. Yeah, that would be awesome, man. We'll do that one day. They finally got the commissioner and the family up here, about to announce the 10th pick in the draft here after a long first 10 picks for sure. So let's see.
This is JJ coming at us. The Vikings select JJ.
JJ McCarthy. All right, look at that. An Ohio State and a Michigan guy both going top 10 here, G-Man. JJ McCarthy gets selected to the Vikings, where he's projected this whole time. So good for the Vikings. But hey, hell of a top 10 pick here. G-Man was hot to start the night. Pretty impressive first 7 picks, G-Man. So that was pretty awesome. A surprise in Michael Penix. And, a lot of fantasy implications to come of all these wide receivers.
Well, great job, Team Money. It's been great hosting the show with you. One of many to come. Coming up here after Team Money gets married, you can all check out his ring at the next show. So on behalf of Team Money, I'm G-Man live at the draft. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Peace.